Melody woke up to the sound of the birds chirping outside her window. She smiled and stretched, feeling the sun on her face. She loved mornings like this, when the world was still asleep and the only sound was the music of nature. Melody got out of bed and went to the window. She looked out at the trees swaying in the breeze, and the flowers blooming in the garden. She could feel the rhythm of the world all around her, and it filled her with joy. Melody went to her piano and sat down. She closed her eyes and began to play. The music flowed out of her effortlessly, as if she were simply channeling the rhythm of the world. She played for hours, lost in the music. When she finally stopped playing, she opened her eyes and smiled. She knew that she had found her purpose in life. She was meant to make music, to share the rhythm of the world with others. Melody got up from the piano and went to her window again. She looked out at the world, and she knew that she would never be the same. She had been touched by the rhythm of the world, and it would stay with her forever. Melody's parents enrolled her in music lessons, and she quickly became a star pupil. She had a natural talent for music, and she could learn new songs quickly. She also had a gift for improvisation. And she could often come up with new melodies on the spot. Melody's parents were very proud of her, and they encouraged her to pursue her dream of becoming a musician. They bought her a piano, and they paid for her to take private lessons. Melody practiced for hours every day, and she soon became one of the best musicians in her school. Melody started winning awards in competitions, and her music was praised by critics and audiences alike. She was invited to perform at prestigious venues, and she even got a record deal. Melody was living her dream, and she was happier than she had ever been. However, Melody's success also came with a price. She was constantly traveling and performing, and she didn't have much time for her family and friends. She also started to feel pressure to keep up her success, and she began to worry about making mistakes. One day, Melody was performing at a big concert. She was nervous, and she made a mistake during the performance. The audience booed, and Melody was devastated. She felt like a failure, and she didn't know what to do. After the concert, Melody went home and cried. She felt like she had let everyone down, including herself. She didn't know if she could keep going as a musician. The next day, Melody woke up and decided that she wasn't going to let her one mistake define her. She was going to keep playing music, no matter what. She knew that she had a gift. And she was determined to share it with the world. Melody went back to practicing, and she started writing new music. She also started performing at smaller venues, where she could connect with her audience on a more personal level. Melody found that she was happier when she was playing music for the joy of it, rather than for the fame or the fortune. Melody's music career continued to grow, but she never forgot the importance of balance. She made sure to spend time with her family and friends, and she also took time for herself to relax and recharge. Melody knew that she could only be her best self when she was happy and healthy. Melody's story is a reminder that it's important to follow your dreams, even when things get tough. It's also important to remember that success is not the only measure of happiness. True happiness comes from doing what you love, and from spending time with the people you love. Melody's fame grew, and she began to travel the world, performing her music for sold-out audiences. She met other musicians and collaborated on new projects. Melody loved traveling and meeting new people. She loved seeing the world and learning about different cultures. She also loved sharing her music with people from all walks of life. Melody met many other talented musicians during her travels. She collaborated with some of them on new projects, and they created some amazing music together. Melody was inspired by the other musicians she met, and she learned a lot from them. Melody's music career continued to grow, and she became one of the most popular musicians in the world. She performed for sold-out audiences everywhere she went. And her music was praised by critics and audiences alike. Melody was grateful for her success, but she never forgot the importance of staying humble. She remembered how she had started out. And she was always willing to help other musicians who were just starting out. Melody was grateful for her success, But she never forgot the importance of staying humble. She remembered how she had started out. And she was always willing to help other musicians who were just starting out. Melody's music career was a dream come true, but it was also a lot of hard work. She had to practice for hours every day, and she had to travel constantly. But Melody loved what she did, and she never took it for granted. Melody's music touched the lives of millions of people around the world. She used her music to bring people together, and she inspired them to be the best versions of themselves. Melody's music will continue to be enjoyed for generations to come. As Melody's fame grew, she began to experiment with new sounds and styles. She wanted to push the boundaries of what was considered acceptable music, and she wasn't afraid to alienate some of her fans in the process. Melody's new music was often dissonant and challenging, but it was also beautiful and innovative. She used unconventional instruments and unusual time signatures, and she often incorporated elements of other genres, such as jazz, electronic music, and world music. Some critics praised Melody's new music for its originality and daring, but others dismissed it as pretentious and inaccessible. Some of Melody's fans also found her new music to be too much of a departure from her earlier work. Despite the criticism, Melody remained committed to her new musical direction. She believed that it was important to challenge herself and to keep evolving as an artist. She also believed that there was an audience for her new music, even if it wasn't the same audience that had loved her earlier work. Melody's music continued to evolve over the years, and she never stopped pushing the boundaries. She was a true experimentalist, and she never shied away from trying new things. She was an inspiration to other musicians, and she helped to change the landscape of popular music. Melody's music was not always easy to listen to, but it was always honest and authentic. She was a true artist, and she never compromised her vision. Her music will continue to be enjoyed by people for generations to come. Melody reached a breaking point. She had been struggling with depression and anxiety for years, and her music career was taking a toll on her mental health. She felt like she was constantly under pressure to perform. And she was tired of being judged by the public. One day, Melody decided that she couldn't take it anymore. She quit music altogether and went into hiding. She moved to a small town where no one knew her, and she started a new life. At first, it was hard for Melody to adjust to her new life. She missed her music, and she felt lost and alone. But slowly, she started to rebuild her life. She made new friends, and she started to focus on her mental health. One day, Melody was walking in the woods when she heard a familiar sound. It was the sound of music. She followed the sound and found a small group of people playing music together. Melody sat down and listened to them play. And she felt a sense of peace that she hadn't felt in a long time. Melody realized that she didn't need to quit music altogether. She just needed to find a way to make music that was healthy for her. She started writing music that was more personal and meaningful to her, and she started performing for smaller audiences. Melody is still rebuilding her life, but she is finally happy. She has found a way to make music that is both meaningful and therapeutic. She is no longer afraid to be herself, and she is finally able to live a balanced and healthy life. Melody eventually returned to music, but this time she did things differently. She wrote music that was more personal and meaningful to her. She also focused on connecting with her audience on a deeper level. Melody started writing songs about her own experiences, both good and bad. She wrote about her struggles with depression and anxiety, but she also wrote about her moments of joy and happiness. She wrote about her relationships with her family and friends, and she wrote about her hopes and dreams for the future. Melody also started performing for smaller audiences. She wanted to be able to connect with her audience on a personal level, and she wanted to make sure that her music was heard by people who would appreciate it. Melody's new music was a hit with her fans. They loved the honesty and authenticity of her lyrics, and they appreciated her willingness to share her personal stories. Melody's music also resonated with people who were struggling with similar challenges. They found comfort and inspiration in her songs, and they felt less alone. Melody's music career was reignited, and she was happier than she had ever been. She was finally able to make music that was true to herself, and she was able to connect with her audience on a deeper level. She knew that she had found her calling, and she was determined to continue making music that would touch people's lives. Melody's music is now more popular than ever before. She has found a new sense of purpose and fulfillment in her music. She is finally able to use her talent to make a positive impact on the world. Melody's music has been featured in movies and TV shows, and she has been nominated for several awards. She has also been invited to perform at some of the biggest music festivals in the world. Melody's music has touched the lives of millions of people around the world. She has used her music to raise awareness about important issues, such as mental health, bullying, and social justice. She has also used her music to inspire people to follow their dreams and to never give up on themselves. Melody is a true inspiration to others. She shows us that it is never too late to follow your dreams, and that you can use your talent to make a difference in the world. She is a role model for young people everywhere. And she shows us that anything is possible if you believe in yourself.